Afternoon, everyone. I'm standing in for Jo this afternoon because Jo might have to leave early, so I'm just filling in for her. Not a problem, Jo. Let's begin our sessions with our normal karakia, please. Whakatakataho ki ruru, whakatakataho ki te tonga, kia mā kina kui te kia mā tāra ki tai. Hei aki ana te atakura, hei tio, hei hoka, hei hohu, ti hei maui o. Cheers, everyone. All right, so we've got an apology from Paul and, of course, Benika's away today out of town. And we've got a couple of workshops in front of us, and I'm going to hand over to Brent and Rohe. Thank you, team.
Thank you, me Bernie. Today we are doing the first workshop on mana whakahono a Rohe, and I will start with the no, see, do triangle. I thought I'd start with this to frame today's conversation. So today we're working across all three areas of the no, see, do triangle. In the no space, we want to make sure everyone has the same understanding of what a mana whakahono a Rohe is, what the legislation provides for, and importantly, what's changed. In C, we want to put that into a Horowhenua context. We've received requests, we have existing relationships and arrangement with iwi and hapu. We need to understand how the legislative changes interact with those. And then finally do, and this is where we need elected members today. We want some direction around how council should respond to the requests that we've received. So moving into the purpose, this slide puts a bit more detail around that, where today we'll give you an overview of what mana whakahono a Rohe is, take you through the government changes, the requests that council's received, and some considerations for us. The key point I'd emphasise is the one on the bottom there. Today isn't about forming a view on the merits of a mana whakahono a Rohe request. The legislative environment has changed since the requests have been received, and we need to determine the appropriate response from council and amongst that context. We also need to be really mindful that our relationships with iwi and hapu are broader than a mana whakahono a Rohe agreement, and whatever direction we take from here needs to recognise the relationships and arrangements we already have and continue to work within. I'm going to hand over to Aroha, who's probably going to lead most of this presentation. She's done all the work here, so I will hand over to you.
Ngā mihi, kia ora tātou. So, what is a mana whakahono a Rohe? So, it's a formal agreement mechanism established under the Resource Management Act. Its purpose is to strengthen relationships between local authorities and iwi authorities by establishing agreed processes for participation in resource management and planning matters. So they usually contain what you can see up on the screen there, but important to note that mana whakahono a Rohe does not create or remove rights and interests. Rather, it provides a framework for how parties will work together. So, yeah, why was it introduced? So it was introduced through the Resource Legislation Amendment Act 2017, with the attempt being to improve Māori participation in resource management, create greater certainty for councils and iwi, support early engagement rather than consultation at the end of a process, and strengthen relationships between local government and tangata whenua. So despite the RMA already providing opportunities for iwi involvement, those opportunities have not always resulted in meaningful participation or influence, and the mana whakahono a Rohe provided the how. So our context, we have never pursued or received mana whakahono a Rohe agreements from iwi. Council has historically relied on established relationship-based arrangements with iwi and hapu rather than a formal statutory agreement under the RMA. So through things such as tiraki, individual partnership agreements, ongoing engagement with iwi and hapu across the district, and internal capability building initiatives. So while mana whakahono a Rohe is a statutory mechanism, Council's relationships extend beyond legislative requirements and are supported through broader partnership approaches. Right, so recent government changes. The government is replacing the RMA with a new resource management system, including the Planning Bill and the Natural Environment Bill. As part of the proposed reforms, the existing mana whakahono ārohe provisions are proposed to be repealed, and it is in its third reading as we speak. The replacement system is expected to provide for iwi participation agreements as a new, more narrowly scoped mechanism. The agreements are expected to focus on iwi participation in statutory planning processes and giving effect to existing treaty settlement arrangements. So we will be impacted by that, being that two of our largest iwi, Ngāti Raukawa and Moepoko, are pre-settlement. And the new ones will be having a focus on settled arrangements. Iwi participation agreements will be optional, which again is different to mana whakahono ārohe. If a request comes to council, it must be undertaken, whereas the new one will be optional, providing a mechanism for councils and iwi to agree arrangements where this is considered beneficial. So it has some alignment with HDC's existing approach through our individual partnership agreements, although the statutory scope and requirements of the new mechanism are still emerging, so we don't know what it looks like yet. So when it was initially announced of the reforms, the initial announcement said that no new mana whakahono ārohe arrangements will take place under the replacement legislation, but that any existing arrangements or any that were in active negotiation would be protected and grandfathered, carried into the new system. Due to the significant increase in mana whakahono ārohe requests due to the reform, the government became concerned with that and therefore announced that the grandfathering clause will be removed and that no mana whakahono ārohe arrangements will be carried through to the new system. So where does that leave us? Current RMA remains in force in the meantime. We have received 6 requests and officers have paused substantive progression pending clarity and council direction.
Can you take questions as we go along or not?
Sure.
Yeah. So when were the requests received? Are they recent or are they like?
Next slide, I think. Yeah. So when the announcement came out, probably about a month or so after that. So there were 8 mana whakahono ārohe arrangements in place nationwide before the announcement. There have been, I think they said dozens more since. So that's when we received these ones. So Rangitani o Manawatu Settlement Trust and Tāne Nui Ārangi Manawatu Inc. Are the 2 Rangitani entities. We've also received requests from Moepoko Tribal Authority, Te Tūmata Kāhoki, Te Iwi o Ngāti Tūkorehe Trust and Ngāti Hikitanga. So that's just all in the last 3 months.
I think it's probably worth just touching on here also that as we've received the requests, we went back to our partners and indicated that there's a process happening legislatively and we're going to pause. But even since then, we've received additional requests in light of that. So I think it's an important point too.
Are they for existing ones or new projects?
We don't have any existing mana whakahono.
No, but I mean existing agreement. Like we have agreements. They're not switching from the agreements into those.
No, so the partnership agreements are staying in place. This is an additional one.
This is additional. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, and can I just also clarify, are they all made under the same provision of the RMA? So is it section 58? I think it is. Right, so.
Consideration. So the repeal or replacement of Mana Whakahono Rohe does not remove Council's existing statutory obligations relating to Māori participation and treaty commitments, existing relationship and partnership commitments, tiraki and individual partnership agreements, ongoing engagement with iwi and hapu through Council's normal business and decision-making processes. Looking ahead, the proposed iwi participation agreements provide a potential future mechanism for formalising participation arrangements, but they are expected to be optional and more narrowly scoped than the current Mana Whakahono framework. Our existing arrangements, including our individual partnership agreements, provide a strong foundation for considering any future participation agreements. So pausing progression of Mana Whakahono Rohe request does not mean pausing Council's relationship with iwi and hapu. And while the future of Mana Whakahono Rohe remains uncertain, strong relationships with iwi and hapu remain critical to effective local government. And regardless of legislative change, Horowhenua District Council's approach through tiraki and our partnership commitments provides a strong foundation for continued collaboration. Did you want to add something? No? So given the government's policy direction and the uncertainty surrounding the transition from the RMA, we propose that HDC does not undertake further substantive work to progress the MWāR requests received at this time, just with the amount of time and energy and effort that's required from all parties, especially our iwi and hapu partners, with something that's just so uncertain at this time. We recommend maintaining communication with each initiating organisation just to keep them informed of the changing legislative position, and continuing engagement with iwi and hapu through tiraki, existing partnership arrangements and Council's normal statutory processes, and to monitor legislative developments and reports back to Council if the position changes or further direction is required. And for officers to bring a separate report to Council in October 2026, seeking direction on the proposed approach to transition existing partnership agreements in alignment with tiraki. So the resourcing conversation is unrelated, but it's separate from Mana Whakahono Rohe. We aren't seeking to resolve that today. We'll bring that matter back to Council separately so members can consider the purpose, scope, costs and appropriate approach. Anything to add?
No, I think that's we've set the time in there for October, given that we're coming into LTP to make sure our figures for the future agreements or whatever that looks like can be built into that process as well. And so I guess just today is about testing to make sure that you elected members are comfortable with the approach and the suggestions there. So yeah, I guess it's an opportunity now for questions, but yeah, it'd be appreciated if we do have a steer today.
Just go.
Sorry, Nina, sorry, I was just distracted there. Where you go?
Kia ora tātou. Thank you for that information. Today, just checking, since you received the 6 requests, they've been made aware that we're on a pause. Continue. As long as they're aware that we can't make any decisions at this time, I don't see any change from that. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Yes, we've been keeping them fully informed. We've let them know that due to the proposed changes that we've got it on pause. We have, however, we have heard back from a couple, so from Te Iwi o Ngāti Tūkorehe Trust and Ngāti Hikitanga, that they would still like to progress conversations in terms of Mana Whakahono, and we've advised them that we're awaiting further direction.
Sorry, just clarity around rangitane and tane nui arangi, given that they are settled iwi, is it within their do you call it, their agreement, once they settled, their engagement of this kind is, like, is it included? Because I know that they have certain requirements as a settled iwi when it comes to things like not necessarily mana whakahono, but with anything that happens within this rohe that affects them, that we're required to engage. So I'm just like, does this impede that in any way?
So there's their statutory acknowledgement of their areas that we still need to engage with them on.
Maybe just to add a little bit to that, at the time, Rangatani as an example, when their statutory acknowledgement came through and is embedded into our district plan, mana whakahono or rohe arrangements weren't actually in place at that point in time. So I'm thinking about 2012, I think, was roughly when the statutory acknowledgement, I think, got included in our district plan. So this has sort of come after. So it probably won't have those specific words in the same way that maybe if a settlement arrangement came now, where it would probably specifically refer to that. It's a bit of a timing aspect.
Araha, I'm curious as to why these groupings have suddenly put in requests to do this. Are they not happy with the previous agreements that we'd structured, or didn't think that they did the job properly, or?
Due to the Replacement Act providing for a greatly reduced amount of engagement that we would be having with iwi, a lot less than what the RMA provides for, so that they took that opportunity to then request a mana whakahono ārohe to enable them to still be at the table. And that is why we've had the great influx.
So those agreements that we've already in place don't change, regardless of what's going on in the new reform?
No, they're completely separate.
Yep.
And the mana whakahono is just an RMA under the RMA. Yeah.
Cool.
Look, I'm talking now to the iwi participation agreements, which now my understanding is that the replacement pieces of legislation to the RMA as we speak, going through the House. So the iwi participation agreements, you've said that it's still emerging, but would it be fair to expect that we should know the detail of that sooner rather than later?
Yeah, we're expecting it to go through today or this week, so we're hoping to know pretty soon what the details look like. We don't have a lot now. Just the emphasis on treaty settled iwi that the agreements are going to be focused on. Existing treaty settled iwi, so yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's me. We're sharing it because it's not working. Oh. Just to add on to the groups here, or the iwi groups, there are also some of those hapu within the tūmata kāhuki who do have the mana whakahono ārohe agreements through the treaty claims. So
Has it gone off, Leonie?
Chinese now, yeah. Ashley, what is that?
Mm.
right, anō, kia ora. That some of the hapu within Te Tūmata Kāhuki, some of the raukawa hapu, they've gone through the treaty claims for the mana whakahono ārohe. So some of them won't be included in the whole Te Tūmata Kāhuki. Yeah.
So everyone is comfortable then with the direction that has been set and continue the way that we're carrying on, and that there will be a paper next in October. Clint, sorry.
Sorry. Could you, I guess, talk me through the process from here to what you'll present to us in October in terms of essentially you've told us you'll bake in some assumptions for our long-term planning process. But I guess what I'm interested in is what's the level of engagement between these interested parties and that's going to help inform some of those assumptions for long-term planning.
Thank you, Councillor Grimstone. I think important to when we come back in October, that is to talk around our existing partnership agreements and what the approach will be ahead of the long-term plan and what that'll look like. Obviously, the mana Whakahono Rohe process is playing out, and while it's separate, and we don't have a lot of detail of what it looks like in terms of the partnership agreements I'm talking about here, we can provide an update at that point or even before once we know. But important to clarify that the October hui is around the existing partnership agreements we have with and our approach moving forward. And that's to bring them all back in line with Tiraki, which we adopted last year.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Brent. Daniel, you want 5? Sure. All right. Need some staff, do you? Huh? Yes.
We've got 2 minutes.
We've got 5 minutes because we need to